For years, they treated us like dinosaurs. Every time we complained about touchscreens, they told us to adapt. When we asked where the spare wheel went, they handed us a can of tyre foam and a phone number. When we wondered why a €40,000 car no longer had a dipstick, they smiled and said the computer would handle it. We were old-fashioned. We didn't understand progress. We just needed to get with the times. Well, something has changed in 2026, and it's the sweetest thing I've reported on in a long while. The manufacturers are backtracking, not because they suddenly grew a conscience, but because the regulators forced their hands. Their sales collapsed, and the customers simply refused to play along. The single biggest U-turn of all of this, physical buttons, are back. From January 2026, Europe's safety body, Euro NCAP, will actively mark down any car that hides essential functions behind a touchscreen. The wipers, the indicators, the hazards, the horn, the emergency call. Bury those in a menu and you lose stars. And since nearly 9 in 10 European buyers check those safety ratings before they buy, no manufacturer can afford to ignore it. This is your victory. Every complaint you posted, every forum rant, every time you walked away from a screen-obsessed car, it worked. Today we're counting down 13 features the industry stripped out and is now being dragged into bringing back. Some are already here, some are mandated, and the one sitting at number 1 is the biggest reversal in modern motoring. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know we've been documenting this madness for years, back when saying buttons were better got you laughed at. And if you're as relieved as I am that sanity is finally returning, hit subscribe and ring the bell, because we're going to keep holding these manufacturers to account until every last one of these is restored. Let's count them down. Number 13, front fog lights. This is the smallest win on the list, but it counts. For years, manufacturers quietly deleted front fog lights and filled the holes with decorative plastic because it looked cleaner and saved them a few euros per car. The argument wasn't entirely mad, because modern LED headlights are genuinely good. But fog lights do one thing headlights can't, throwing a wide, low beam that cuts under fog and heavy rain instead of bouncing back into your eyes. Drivers in Scotland, the Alps and Scandinavia discovered the hard way that their shiny new car couldn't cope with actual weather. Their return is partial, with some makers restoring them as options and others building proper fog functions into their lighting. If you live somewhere with real weather, check the spec sheet, because the feature that came as standard on a cheap car 20 years ago might now cost you extra, if it's there at all. Number 12, hydraulic power steering feel. This one is more of a lesson than a comeback, but it's worth telling. Electric power steering took over because it saves a sliver of fuel. No hydraulic pump dragging on the engine. The cost was feel. Hydraulic steering told you exactly what the front tires were doing through your hands. Early electric systems felt numb, artificial, disconnected. Porsche faced a genuine customer revolt when their first electric setups felt lifeless, and they spent years and a fortune engineering the feel back in. Hydraulic steering itself is essentially gone from new cars, so this isn't a true restoration. It's the industry quietly admitting it threw something good away and scrambling to replicate it in software. Mazda deserves credit here because their electric system was tuned for feedback from the start, and it shows. The point stands. They removed something drivers loved, and now they're paying engineers to fake it. Number 11. Standard equipment that's actually standard. For years, the game was simple and cynical. Strip the base model bare to advertise a tempting headline price, then charge for everything that used to be included. Metallic paint, floor mats, a spare wheel, a reversing camera, all of it turned into line items on an options list. That's reversing, and partly because the law forced it. Reversing cameras and automatic emergency braking became mandatory across the EU, so manufacturers can no longer charge extra for safety kit that's now required. But the bigger pressure came from the value brands. When a €15,000 Dacia arrives better equipped than a €30,000 German car with nothing ticked, buyers notice, and they talk. The premium makers are slowly being shamed into improving their standard specification, because nickel and diming people for floor mats is no longer a good look when the cheap brands include everything. Number 10. Manual gearboxes. Let's be honest, the manual isn't coming back to the mainstream. That fight is lost, with take rates in many segments below 5%, but it's holding on exactly where it matters, and the manufacturers have stopped trying to kill it everywhere. Porsche still offers a manual in the 911 and 718. BMW kept the manual in the M2 after a customer outcry. Toyota engineered a brand new manual gearbox specifically for the GR Yaris and GR Corolla because they understood enthusiast buyers want 3 pedals, and the Mazda MX-5 remains proudly manual first. The lesson is that when buyers shout loudly enough and vote with their wallets, the manual survives. It's no longer the default, but it exists, and everyone bought is a vote to keep it on the order sheet. If you want one, the message is simple. Buy it while you still can. Number 9. Naturally aspirated engines. The turbo takeover promised better economy with the same power. In the laboratory, it worked. In the real world, the promised economy often vanished the moment you used the throttle. And the complexity, the intercoolers, the wastegates, the plumbing, the bearings cooking themselves, brought failure modes that got expensive fast. A few makers never followed the crowd, and they're being proven right. Mazda's naturally aspirated Skyactiv engines power the MX-5 and the CX-30 with genuine efficiency and a reliability record the Turbo Brigade can only dream of. Toyota kept naturally aspirated engines across its hybrid range, the same engines the reliability studies consistently rank at the very top. The tide hasn't fully turned, because most of Europe stayed committed to turbocharging for emissions reasons, but as turbo repair bills mount and the simple engines keep outlasting them, the case for going back is getting louder every year. Number 8. The oil dipstick. This one still makes me angry because it represents everything wrong with the modern approach. A component that costs a couple of euros has worked flawlessly for a century and gives you an instant, honest reading, replaced by an electronic sensor that costs hundreds and sits in hot, dirty oil waiting to fail. You're trusting a cheap sensor to tell you whether your expensive engine is about to seize. The premium German brands led the charge to delete it, claiming customers never used it. The reality was cost-cutting dressed up as progress, and owners were left with sensors giving wildly inconsistent readings. The partial victory is telling. Even the brands that deleted the dipstick kept it in some of their bigger engines, buried deep in the bay, while telling owners to use the screen. The dipstick was there all along, they just pretended it wasn't, and now they're quietly admitting it exists again. Number 7. The manual handbrake. The electronic parking brake was sold as convenience, one button instead of a lever. What they didn't mention is the failure mode. A manual handbrake that fails can be fixed with a cable adjustment in 15 minutes. An electronic one that fails leaves you with no parking brake and a trip to the dealer. A traditional handbrake also gives you a mechanical backup if your main brakes fail. The electronic version gives you a button that may or may not respond. Only a small fraction of new cars still offer a proper handbrake, so this is a feature we're fighting to keep rather than restore. But Dacia, the brand that's now outselling far more expensive rivals, has held onto the manual handbrake in cars like the Sandero, and every Dacia sold sends the message that drivers value mechanical simplicity over electronic convenience that brakes. Number 6. Working door handles. Here's a brand new win for 2026, and it's a direct reversal of one of the most pointless trends of the last decade. Manufacturers fell in love with flush electronic pop-out door handles because they looked sleek and shaved a tiny fraction off the aerodynamics. The trouble showed up fast. Electronic handles freeze solid in winter, leaving you locked out of your own car on a frosty morning. Worse, in a crash, if the car loses electrical power, those handles can leave occupants trapped inside and stop rescuers from getting in. There have been genuinely frightening cases, and the safety bodies took notice, so Euro NCAP has stepped in directly. Under the 2026 rules, electric vehicles will need their exterior door handles to keep working after a collision, with the high-voltage battery safely isolated. In other words, a door handle now has to do the one job a door handle has always done: open the door, even when every clever system in the car has failed. That this had to be written into a safety regulation tells you just how far the obsession with styling over function had gone. Number 5. The death of the feature subscription. This is the one that made everyone's blood boil, and the backlash was so fierce the industry had to retreat. The idea was simple and shameless. Build the heated seats into the car, then charge you a monthly fee to switch them on. The hardware was already there, already paid for, sitting in your car, locked behind a paywall. BMW tried it with heated seats and the reaction was so hostile that they backed away from charging a subscription for them. The principle is what matters here. You bought the car, the hardware is yours. The notion that you should pay rent every month to use something you already own was a step too far, and customers said so in numbers the manufacturers couldn't ignore. The subscription dream isn't dead everywhere, so stay alert. But on physical features you've already paid for, the public revolt worked. Number 4. Simple climate controls. This rides on the coattails of the button rebellion, but it deserves its own place, because the climate controls were the canary in the coal mine. For 50 years, every car had 3 knobs: temperature, fan, direction. You could adjust them blind, by feel, without looking away from the road. Then someone decided a flat touch panel looked more premium, and suddenly changing the fan speed meant taps and swipes and eyes off the road. The backlash was immediate, and it has been heard. Hyundai has restored proper physical climate controls to cars like the Tucson, Volkswagen's newest models have brought back real backlit buttons after years of fiddly touch panels, and Mazda never abandoned them in the first place, with proper knobs you can use wearing winter gloves. Climate control isn't infotainment, it's something you adjust constantly while driving, and burying it in software was never progress. It was cost-cutting, and it's being undone. Number 3. The spare wheel. For over a decade, manufacturers convinced themselves the run-flat tires and a can of foam were acceptable substitutes for a spare wheel. They saved weight and boot space and looked modern on paper. What they didn't advertise was that run-flat tires cost far more than normal ones, often 200 to 300 euros each, ride harshly, can't be repaired, and are frequently unavailable when you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. The foam kits permanently wreck your tire, so you're calling for recovery anyway if the puncture is serious. BMW was the worst offender, shipping entire ranges with no spare. But check the latest BMW X3, and for the first time in years you can option a space saver spare again for a couple of €100. It's still an extra, but the fact that it's available at all is a reversal, and it happened because customers screamed and the used market punished cars without a spare. Number 2. Your right to repair and to own. This is the one that ties everything together. For 20 years, the industry pushed towards sealed systems, dealer-only diagnostics, software-locked parts, and subscriptions. They wanted you dependent, every repair flowing through their profit centers. The backlash has been comprehensive. Right to repair rules are advancing across Europe, pushing for longer parts availability and proper access to the diagnostic information independent garages need. Euro NCAP's button requirements are part of the same shift, an acknowledgement that the car should be usable and fixable without a computer science degree. And the market is voting with it, because the average car on European roads is now well over a decade old. People are keeping their simpler cars running rather than upgrading to complicated ones they can't maintain. The whole point of this list is that features came back because the alternatives failed. The sealed, locked subscription future generated complaints, warranty claims, and lost customers, and the industry is being forced to reverse it. And number 1, the big one, physical buttons. This is the reversal that proves everyone who was mocked for years was right all along, and it isn't a polite suggestion anymore. It's being written into the safety rules. From January 2026, Euro NCAP will penalise any car that hides essential functions behind a touchscreen. To earn a 5-star rating, a car must have physical controls, buttons, knobs, or stalks for the indicators, the hazard lights, the horns, the wipers, and the emergency call. Bury those in a menu and you lose points, and physical climate controls now earn extra credit on top. With nearly 9 in 10 European buyers checking those ratings before they sign, no manufacturer can shrug this off. And here's the proof it's already working. There's research behind all of this, the kind the industry ignored for years. A Swedish magazine ran what became the definitive test, timing drivers completing 4 simple tasks at motorway speed. A 2005 Volvo with ordinary physical buttons finished in about 10 seconds, covering roughly 300 meters of road. A modern car built around a touchscreen needed close to 45 seconds, with the driver's eyes flicking off the road for well over a kilometer. Premium machines costing 50 to 100,000 euros were beaten badly by a 17-year-old Volvo, and it wasn't even close. The manufacturers can't argue with crash math like that. Volkswagen's own design chief has publicly admitted that stripping out the buttons was a mistake, and said they'll never do it again. Hyundai brought physical controls back after their own focus groups confirmed what we all know. Porsche is restoring buttons. Even Ferrari has admitted their touchscreen controls weren't right. Think about what that means. For over a decade, they told us that we were stuck in the past for wanting a button we could find without looking. And in 2026, the safety regulators, the engineers, and the sales charts have all sided with us. The touchscreen cult is in retreat, and Euro NCAP just locked the doors behind them. Physical buttons are back, and they're back because you refused to accept anything else. So there it is. 13 features the industry stripped away and is now being forced to bring back, from fog lights all the way up to the great button reversal. But let's be clear-eyed about this. It isn't a complete victory. Most cars will still ship without a dipstick. The manual handbrake is hanging on by a thread. The manual gearbox is in survival mode, not good health. The manufacturers retreated on the easy, loud stuff first. The things where the complaints were loudest and the fixes were cheapest. The hardest battles are still ahead. But make no mistake about what just happened. A safety body wrote your complaints into law. A design chief admitted he was wrong. The cheap brand shamed the expensive ones into putting the kit back. None of that happened because the industry had a change of heart. It happened because you, and millions of drivers like you, refused to buy the nonsense. The rebellion is working. So I want to hear from you. Which removed feature do you most want back? And which manufacturer's U-turn surprised you the most? Tell me in the comments, because this conversation is exactly what shapes what they do next, and they're listening now in a way they never were before. And if you want to see which cars actually got the message, the new cars worth buying in 2026 that kept the buttons, kept it simple, and refused to follow the herd, that's the video to watch next. Let's keep the pressure on.